Out with the old, in with the new is the mantra over at Kia, with big changes happening in the midsize segment. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, specifically midsize, referring to sedans. While a lot of manufacturers are yielding more to crossover segments, Kia says, well, we're going to step things up here, specifically the all-new 2021 Kia K5 GT Line Edition. With big nameplates in the midsize segment, specifically from Honda and Toyota, Kia knew they had to, step up their game when it came to reimagining their midsize sedan. And by doing so, well, they went bigger and lower. Specifically, the K5 replaces the Optima, grows longer, and gets a little bit more snug to the ground. Two big components when you talk about a sedan: adding more interior volume, as well as getting a little bit lower, adds an overall aggressive, sporty look. You can certainly see it in the profile. Overarching roofline, really taking up a good 2/3 of this vehicle, swinging down to the front, which is really, again, angling, giving a very arching design to the overall look, but not too high or cathedral. Again, low overall stance. Now, as for the exterior color, I refer to it as kind of that battleship gray. We see it across the industry right now, really adorning a lot of trucks and SUVs. This obviously referred to as wolf gray here on the K5. Now, as for accents, really a nice dark smoky look overall, touch of chrome here and there, and the whole roofline in a darkened glass facade that really divides the middle from front to back, giving a nice, really aggressive overall look, all culminating here with an elongated back end and an implied rear spoiler as well. From this angle, you can really see the elongation of this roofline, how it sweeps pretty much from front to back, all culminating here at the back end with a very modest rear deck lid. Huge bank of glass. You'd almost infer that this got to be a hatch that lifts back here. Just not the case. I'll show you the business end of things in just a second. Now, one thing I've seen across the midsize segment when it comes to designs is separating the roofline from the body, almost implying airflow here through the middle. You'll see it here on the K5 with that chrome accent dividing that rear pillar. Now, that chrome sweeps around here, giving a nice visual and overall look to the design. Now, by the numbers, again, this vehicle has grown by about 2 inches compared to the Optima, about 193 inches overall. Wheelbase stretched by about 0.8 inches to 112 as you see it. Now, this vehicle, again, is lower by about an inch. Ground clearance about 5.3 inches. Overall height 56 inches. Lastly is width, nice and substantial at 73 inches. With the overall aggressiveness to this profile and this modest rear deck lid, one big compromise I thought of was going to be the acreage that awaits me inside, but well, that's far from the case. Plenty of room here on the business end of things. Before we dive in, let's talk about the overall look. First off, body color all the way around this vehicle, even right down to the door handles. Black accents around the windows, with the only chrome being that piece that sweeps all the way around this portion here. Adorned rear spoiler in black, but otherwise body color as well. Rear taillight assembly sweeping all the way across, really illuminating this back end, and a backup camera for safety. But the big numbers overall with this vehicle is what's in here. Now, you have a nice electronic release as well as on your key fob, but once this opens, what you're going to notice is almost a vertical opening, feeling cave-like, but a whopping 16 cubic feet of space. Plenty of acreage, and again, for the golf clubs, easily sweeping inside. Smart key systems to be expected, a little bit different here on the Kia. Typically a nice facial buttons that you can pretty much interact with. Instead, they do it on the slim line, lock at the top, and then the subsequent buttons down below. It did have remote start, which is on the back side, nice and subtle, and a slender key, because you're pretty much going to keep it in your pocket and forget about it. Now, when it comes to access buttons here at the front doors, just simply a one press, unlock the driver, press it again, unlocks all the rest. You do know my point of contention, which is pretty much why not put that access button at every door? Just not the case. But what I do like is security at the fill-up area, and when this vehicle is locked, so is this. Unlock it one time, this pops open with ease. Just for the fill-up though, that is old school with the cap system versus the capless. Sedan styling is no longer just about a hood, a cabin, and a trunk at the back, and well, some bumpers thrown on. Instead, it's really about chiseling things up, keeping everything tight, and well, grill warfare, and that's what the K5 delivers. Nice aggressive overall look, again with the profile, and it all culminating and sweeping down to the front. This hood really nose diving here. Now, nothing really protruding like some of the competition that has almost a nose effect. This having a little bit more sawed off look, nice aggressive and menacing grill with a lot of chiseling and angling, really menacing when it comes to the headlight assembling and bedazzling effect here on the outer side. Of course, sweeping down with this lower fascia, two-tone approach, but again, chrome accent almost non-existent except for that eyeline I mentioned earlier. Now, the engine's a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline four-cylinder, delivers 180 horses and 195 foot-pounds of torque, more specifically 0 to 60 numbers in around about 7 seconds. Now, at the four corners, you're going to notice this nice two-tone approach when it comes to the wheels. Black accents with some nice matte gray finish. As for the tires, 235 45s wrapping an 18-inch wheel. Also to note, grip at the four corners in the form of all-wheel drive. And if you're getting down to the micro level, you have 63.7-inch wide track at the front, just a hair wider here at the back at 64 inches. With the overall size of this vehicle, one area I wanted to test first wasn't there in the front, but really the comfort here in the back, because really this is where the loudest complaints can come from if it's not comfortable, and truly the K5 does deliver. Now, where it starts is in the overall comfort of these seats. Individualized attention on the outer side with this sport style seating, a little bit of a raised area through the middle for the fifth occupant. Do have a nice center console. It is raised for great elbow support, dual cup holders as well. Now, if you do put a fifth person here, you will have kind of that feet dance down here below with that proverbial hump, but that's to be expected. But the big number has to be legroom, a whopping 46 inches up front, 35 inches in the back. And pretty much what that means is, well, that's overkill up front, and most occupants will slide those seats forward, probably on average of 41 inches. That means that leftover translates here to the back, easily increasing this by 4 to 5 inches, giving almost equal space around this cabin, pretty much meaning there's not a bad seat in the house. When you first start the car, you're going to find this huge oversized screen, barely an arm stretch away, obviously touch sensitive so you can interact with it at ease, minimizing the overall buttons on the dash, pretty much touch sensitive buttons on either side. This home screen really keeps everything nice and neutral, non-distracting. One thing I did notice is kind of the default screen. You'll have to select one of the options on the side to go full screen. Once you'll do, you'll see radio pop up, and a nice kind of throwback look here with this kind of design up here, as well as your shortcuts down below, and obviously the information there underneath. Now, one thing I did notice is the volume knob can be hidden just a hair by the driver because it is on the far left there on the dash, but I pretty much refer to the controls here on the steering wheel pretty much for everything, but primarily for volume select, simple toggle up and down. Now, if you do want to do tune select, fairly simple, just simply hit the left or right button and you can kind of scroll through them. Now, down below that is climate controls, nice in position, and dual temperatures up front, and the various mode selects down below, as well as the fan speed in the form of these buttons. Connectivity is going to be found low on the dash in the form of 2 USBs, traditional car outlet, nice tray to store those devices as they charge. Gear shifter, dual cup holders, nice springy material to keep the drinks in place, and of course driving mode. And the driving modes range from smart, normal, sport, custom, and snow. Just simply toggle through it. Also heated seats for both occupants and a heated steering wheel. Now, what you also see right here is the wireless charging. One big problem we have with a lot of vehicles is this area right here, pretty much taking your phone, sliding it into that holder, and as you can tell with my oversized case, just not going to work. But well, I like how Kia solved that problem. All you have to do is reach down, remove this here, then place your phone back in. Now you got a nice huge swath of area, and it's not confined to just a nice little niche, but instead can handle about any size device that wirelessly charges. Gauge cluster has a huge analog tach and speedometer, digital readout there in the middle, most specifically with the digital speed. Nice, easy glance down, but you can scroll through various other information as needed. Now, on the steering wheel, you will find, again, the entertainment over here on the left side, changing the LCD display as well as your cruise control settings. Now, just for this edition road, we're going to test drive behind the wheel of the all-new 2021 Kia K5 GT Line Edition, pretty much putting that sport under the hood, grip at the four corners, but most notable is the amount of space in the front, and don't forget the cargo to boot, because when it comes to delivering in the midsize segment, it has to be passenger comfort and, well, boot, scoot, and boogie. Now, as always, like, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.